many guys contributing on special teams as well. So, for us, I think we play a big part in the defense from a schematic standpoint, from a leadership standpoint, and we need to continue to raise our bar as Coach Dillingham and Coach Ward are challenging us to do so.
And what newcomers should we look out for this year? Obviously, we got Zyrus, Jordan, Keyshawn, and Tate, but what newcomers have stood out to you so far?
Oh, well, Isaiah Iosefa right now he's a true freshman. It's early enrolled. I think he's got a pretty bright future. If I'm going to compare him to Martell, athletically they're different. Isaiah is probably farther ahead mentally. Now, Isaiah also was a high school linebacker. Martell converted from safety. So really excited to get Isaiah out there, get him rolling. And, he comes from great bloodlines, with older brothers playing a lot of college football. So we're really excited. I'm glad he's here. Really excited to get him going.
I know last year Martell did pretty well in special teams, but do you see some more role him on defense this year?
Yeah, he played quite a bit. I mean, he was our third down Mike linebacker, and so really the challenge for Martell is to become comfortable in all base downs because he's certainly got the ability to do so. And another young guy too is Prayer. I think Prayer's got a chance to really contribute for us as well.
Keyshawn's been known to be a workhorse, wake up early, get ready to work. What have you seen out of him the past few months?
The same. You know what I mean? The same. If they've got a 7 a.m. workout, he's probably here at 5:30. That's just his personality. I think he's done a really good job of balancing himself off the field. That was something that I think at the back end of the year he played really well against Texas, and a couple late games just kind of he found some balance in for him. And so we're really going to lean into that. I think he's being a little bit more vocal as a leader, and that's starting to show up in the weight room and on the field when they're running out there. So just excited for him to continue to progress and put all that together.
Evaluating kind of the improvements that guys like Martell Hughes and Jordan Cook made towards the middle tail end of last season, what kind of excites you about sort of evaluating their performance?
Just the challenge for me as a coach to continue that, right? Like both are very talented in their own ways and can be, I'll stop at saying game changers, but explosive guys that can really flash and show up on film. So it's just to keep their learning, keep their hunger, their fire, all those things continue to move them in the right direction, which I've been pretty pleased with so far.
You guys have taken it upon yourselves to have that starting mantra. How do you think that sort of helped the guys grow just as you did grow?
I think, just as the year went on, they really, like anything else, like you can either make them have it or kind of let it become its own thing. And it really, with those guys, I think it's become their own thing where they do a good job off the field, staying out of trouble, doing a great job in the classroom. And then once we hit that field, we bring a different energy and excitement, and they embrace it. But, it really starts to recruit. Like we talk about it in recruiting. And so as we recruit those guys, now they're starting to come in the fold already, understanding what that means and the expectation to live up to that, if that makes sense.
So that's something that you're recruiting to as well, finding guys.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You got to have guys that can kind of know when to turn it on and off, if that makes sense. And that when we're on the field, man, turn it on, cut it loose, be your personality, be who you are. That's ultimately what it means. Coach Dillingham at the top as far as how to handle success, you know what I mean? And then we've really hammered home on let's take from the lessons and the things we learned, but understand the past has no indication on how we're going to do in the future. And whether it's us as coaches or the players and everybody walks around and said, hey, you had a great year and all this stuff, none of that stuff matters anymore. And I don't think a lot of people realize while we had a really good year, the taste that was left in our mouth after that last game was one that I think that's made this group and, the defense, I think the team pretty hungry, if that makes sense. So, certainly appreciative of all the things that did happen, but we're focused on growing and getting better and being a better version of ourselves this spring and then into the fall.
You mentioned handling success and some of the lessons learned through success. What are some of the big keys and big takeaways from last year that you tried to kind of emphasize here?
Well, I think those guys realize it's trusting the process. You know what I mean? Kind of, no offense, guys, but blocking out the media or social media or their families or all the people that aren't in their, let's say, football lives day to day, and really just focusing on the process and trusting, not focusing on the results, but the process. And when you do a good job at the process, most of the time the results will come. So it was affirming for me. For me personally, I've been a part of winning 3 national titles. So I've also been a part of, you get into an off season, you got to stamp out complacency, and you got to hunt for it, you got to smell it out, and you got to look for it at every turn. There's been a couple times this off season where we kind of had some discussions about it, but for the most part, I think the guys have been pretty focused on the future and the process and not what happened in the past. Oh, I think we did some good things. You know, I'm pretty hard on him, so there's always things you'd like to see him do better, and that's what we've really focused on in January and February and watching film. And the nice part is when you watch the tape, it's probably consistently. There's some guys that have individual things that they need to improve on, but I think as a group, there's some main points that we all need to get better at, if that makes sense. And so it's just a challenge for them and the rest of the defense to all raise our level as one, if that makes sense. I mean, it's like at linebackers, it's always your run fits. It's number one for us, it's your footwork, it's your block destruction, it's your fits, it's your eyes. For us, I will say one thing that they got a lot better at towards the end of the year was our pass drops, especially in our zones, getting our feet in the ground. And we continue to challenge them to be more disruptive. I believe we had 4 or 5 interceptions last year. You got to be careful when you do that as a coach, because I don't want them to go hunt for those things. If they do their job and trust the process, they come. But I think there's more areas we can improve, and I think we got to become better blitzers. You know, in the run game we were pretty disruptive, but I think our group needs to be more disruptive when we're blitzing in pass situations. You know, what you always want, I guess the easiest way to say it, and Caleb McCullough did it last year, you want your seniors to have their best year. And that's not necessarily when you say that, right away guys think, hey, I got to go make 100 tackles and do all this. You want them to have their best year on the practice field, their best year in the weight room, the best year academically, and be most consistent in all those areas, because if they do that, then it'll translate to the field. So that's really my challenge for all those guys is whatever you've done in the past, let's be the better version of yourself moving forward, and then that'll take care of the success and the tackles, the TFLs, all that stuff that occur on the field. Yeah, I mean, Caleb had a great year, really did a great job leading the group, and you know, that's a beautiful part about our group. There's a ton of competition, and it's kind of like when an injury occurs, they understand it's really the next guy up. So while we love Caleb, we miss Caleb, we're wishing him the best as he gets ready for pro day. Like for us, it wasn't like we were slowing down. It's like, okay, the next guy's got to be ready to grow, and Prayer and Martell and Crew and Tate and all those guys that maybe didn't play quite as much as the other guys, hey, you guys got to step up and keep it pushing. And we got 2 freshmen that'll get here in June, and those guys are going to have an opportunity to compete as well. So I don't mean it to sound cold. When you lose a guy, you always miss that guy. But if you're looking back and missing that guy, you're kind of missing really what's in front of you, if that makes sense.
Do you think with Caleb going